It's clear from your impressive CV that you're very involved with children and youth organizations and activities in Jamaica. However, and especially with about 30% of Jamaica's population falling under the age of 15, what particular dynamics or challenges does Jamaica face as such a young country?
As a young nation, we have some advantages. The advantage of creativity and the ability to adjust quickly and to respond well to the changes that happen to us in the world. But it also challenges us in terms of the maturity of leadership and the need for us to be able to drive the managerial and higher levels of entrepreneurship. We also have to end up borrowing technology quite a bit, primarily because of the very sharp learning curve that our people have.
So Jamaican culture and civil society is vibrant, dynamic, and diverse on the island, yet the common perception tends to be more superficial, more on the environment, the clear waters, etc. And however, Jamaica's rich history and complex culture have much more to offer the international community. How can the generalizations and stereotypes be broadened?
Indeed, this is one of the failings, I believe, of the metropolitan culture that tends to relegate small island states to the peripheries. And sometimes because of our own inability to manipulate the technologies to generate an impression of ourselves as being creative people, of being doers and achievers, and also of having a history and a tradition that is as deep and as strong and as rich and as abiding as some of these larger countries. Unfortunately, I think Jamaica has been able to break that stereotype a bit, though, because of how powerful our music has become on the global scene, and also that critical cultural values of Jamaica that has been embraced by a large portion of the world. We have cultural icons that have become international scholars and well regarded and well respected. We have had inventors that have also broken the glass ceiling, if you will, and we have been able to put to the world great thinkers. Marcus Garvey, for example, who was not only a thinker but a liberator in his own right for African peoples in the Caribbean diaspora. And so I think that we've also established ourselves as a location for some powerful commodities, like the Jamaican coffee, which is very highly regarded globally with a strong brand appeal. The Jamaican bauxite, which although several other countries do have, but Jamaican bauxite is of the highest quality, and it's also achievable by surface mining, which makes it more economical. So you begin to see a little more of a destination than the stereotype of music and sound and sand and sea and leisure and fun. You really begin now to see a more serious side of the destination on the basis of the creative output of its people.
Excellent. That's very interesting. I suppose if we could shift gears now and discuss a bit more about the economy in Jamaica. It's obvious that through its vibrant tourism industry, Jamaica attracts a great deal of foreign investment, but especially in light of the global financial crisis and the deep recession that Jamaica faced, is there a danger that Jamaica's economy lacks the broad diversifications needed for long-term stability?
I think that the traditional understanding of tourism and its contribution to economic development overall would invite that kind of conclusion. But a closer examination of the true catalytic role that tourism play in building other industries would put paid to that idea. For example, what tourism does is to bring wealth to a destination. And by bringing wealth, it invites the people to access that wealth. And how do you do it? You do it by providing the services. And the industry has a very long and lucrative value chain. And if your people are able to tap into that chain, then various other economic activities can have sustainable development. For example, the industry needs technology, huge technology. From the internet for reservations, the software involved with the hardware involved, to aeronautic sciences. They need food and all types of foods, processed foods, fresh foods, organic foods. They need furnishings, all types of furnishings of various kinds. So it invites manufacturers of furniture, manufacturers of pots and pans and utensils. It requires clothing. So the whole textile industry. The point I'm making is that there are perhaps 30 or 40 different industries that are required to support a tourism sector. So the traditional notion of tourism, I agree, would definitely inform the earlier conclusion. But a true understanding of the real role that tourism plays in an economy will enable you to say that with a tourism economy, Jamaica has a strong future. And this is one of the reasons we were able to do well during the recession. And as a small island state, we didn't fold, but we stood up during the recession. We didn't lose a single banking institution because we grew tourism arrivals, and with that we grew demand for goods and services, which were provided by some of our people and imported from other places.
Yeah, I especially liked during your speech what you said about just going off of people's passions and the environment. Those are really the best advertisements for any country.
Absolutely, and that is a further statement to enhance the point I was making about the value of tourism. Because if you market the passions of the people, then you are producing to respond to those passions. And the other thing that I think people lose sight of is how broad, deep and wide is this involvement that tourism affords people of all educational backgrounds. Indeed, you need not be a college graduate. In fact, you need not even have attended school to be able to be an active participant in the economic supply chain of tourism. You need only have an idea that is capable of being converted into a material good, for which there is a value and a demand created again by the passions of the people.
I have yet another question on tourism. Unemployment, drug crime, corruption, crime, drugs. Every government has to deal with these things. And I was wondering how this sort of thing relates in terms of advertising tourism in Jamaica. I know pickpocketing is like a common issue.
Corruption, crime, drugs, and drug addiction and immorality. Yes, these are negative features of almost every society. And it is sometimes more so in poorer societies as they struggle to find an economic space. But you can overcome it. You can overcome it with education, with an investment in education and training of your people. It's an emphasis that must be made on the human capital and building the human capital, and with that you'll be able to overcome much of it. Jamaica does have its fair share of these problems with crime and drugs and so on. But I think that we have been working assiduously at it. We've been lifting our education standards. We've been getting universal access to education by all our children. And we are seeing reduction in crime as a result. Economic activities also play a role in reducing these negative tendencies. And because we grow, we are able to deal with some of these demands that are unfulfilled and unmet, which result in people resorting to crime and violence. but it remains a challenge, and a challenge that we are taking a very bold and strong step in dealing with.
If we could ask you just one more question. We've been talking a lot today about the Caribbean as a region and Jamaica, of course, in particular. And obviously the islands of the Caribbean have a long history of interconnectedness, and sometimes our interconnectedness and cooperation. Interconnectedness. If you could just provide a few comments on what relations are like among the islands. Is it a cooperative spirit, or is there also a bit of a competitive edge as well?
I think it is a competitive and cooperative spirit. We have an integrative approach to our global obligations. We have a unit called CARICOM, which brings all the islands together for trading purposes, for also discussion on social and cultural development, as well as political development. We vote as a bloc in a lot of the international fora of the world, and we advance sports pretty much as a group, whilst also maintaining the individuality of the destinations within the area. We're looking more and more at doing things together. Tourism is one of the collective efforts that we are pursuing. We're looking at the whole business of multi-destination marketing, marketing the Caribbean as one full destination with a few experiences, maybe 33 experiences, because we have 33 islands within the Caribbean Tourism Group. So what we're saying then, if you buy one, you can get all. And so in this way, we think that we can be more attractive to a larger group of people and more affordable to more people in the world.
Would you be willing to do one more question? Okay.
This relates more to our organization, which promotes cultural diplomacy as a way that nations can deal with one another. Jamaica's culture is unique and offers a complex fusion of people and a multitude of ethnicities. What are particular areas where Jamaica has been particularly successful at integrating minorities? And what are specific instances where integration and social acceptance remain troubled?
Well, I must tell you, Jamaica is the perfect melting pot. I think we are the finest example in the world of tolerance and of integration of races and colors and creeds and ethnicity. Our motto, of course, is out of many, one people. And so we have Jamaican Chinese, we have Jamaican Jews, we have Jamaican Indians, we have Jamaican Caucasians of every strain, and of course we have a predominance of African descent because of the colonial historic background that we have, and also the role of slavery in the development of the Jamaican economy over there. So I think that in real terms, we treat everybody alike. We intermarry freely. We have business relationship with each other, and when you come to Jamaica, you could see the entire world there. And we all live in peace and harmony, and we've had a stable economy, a stable political system, a stable social system. We've never had a civil war, except some skirmish in 1865. And a little squabble over wages and salaries in 1938. We've never had a war with anybody externally either. So Jamaica represents an area of peace, and in fact the Caribbean is indeed a crescent of peace and calm. And that is because we have learned to integrate, and the interconnectivity of peoples have been an important part of our experience over here. In fact, it began with the Spanish who came with Christopher Columbus in 1494, and then after the English came, and the Dutch, and everybody lived. Some became Maroons, and finally the Maroons became a group of resistance within the Jamaican community, people of various ethnic and cultural heritage. So it wasn't strange for you to find some English Maroons or some Spanish Maroons and some African Maroons and some Indian Maroons, because they became one group. Pretty much in the same way that Christianity came afterwards, that religion, and embraced everybody. And now we have a melting pot of religions. We have Buddhists, we have Muslims, we have Christians, we have Jewish, we have all sorts of religions. And Jamaica provides that basic accommodation for this melange of strains of thought as well as lifestyle and behavior. But having said all of that, we've been able to generate a line of compliance to a set of values that have evolved out of that confluence of ethnicity and cultural activity. So what is good is that we are not then a confused society of various different groups contending, but rather we've become a close and knitted society revolving itself around a common set of values and behavior patterns which have now been defined as the Jamaican culture.
What a great note to leave off on. If only all nations were so integrated and peaceful towards other nations.
That's why we invite you to visit us.
I would love to.
And when you come, I'll be very happy to.
I'm looking forward to it.
Really give you a good Jamaican experience.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Have a good rest of your night.